okay. I don't know.
Last time this team was in Baltimore, it was, Puka and Davis had a number of impressive catches. Just what do you remember about, I guess, the plays and those catches that they made and how that maybe helped them build their confidence as rookies?
Yeah, we relied upon those guys a bunch that year. That was a great football game, back and forth. Obviously didn't end the way we wanted it to, but great battle. I imagine it's going to be something similar when we go back there. It's a tough place to play. They've got good football, good players, a good football team, and have been really good for a long time. So I know we'll get their best shot. And as far as those two guys, Davis made a great catch on a seam ball, got in on a Y screen where he got his helmet turned all the way around and almost ripped off. Puka made a number of great plays. A couple come to mind. Just the one crosser from left to right into a tough coverage. Made a great layout catch. It wasn't an easy day to throw and catch with some of the weather. Those guys have been great since they've been here, and that was definitely a highlight early for them in their careers.
You're currently leading the NFL in passing yards, and through a long career, you've always, or several times, have been near the top, but never finished at the very top.
All right, thank you.
I was going to say, does that mean anything to you? Would you like to add that to your resume, which is obviously long and storied?
Yeah, no, I don't think too much about that. I'm just trying to execute the plays that are called as best I can. Obviously, I've had some success through the air early on in the season, trying to do everything I can to just get the ball to the guys that make the plays. And then if there's opportunities for me to, make a play, buy a little extra time, do something like that, throw something down the field, then those have come to life. But I'm not thinking about that surely at the moment, and maybe some other time when I'm done playing this game. But no, I'm just trying to get us in the end zone and score as many points as I can.
Hey Matthew, Davante's always been a great player for so many years. Is there anything that has surprised you now that you've had this amount of opportunity to work with him?
I don't know, surprise. I just appreciate more and more every time we get to work together. I watched him a bunch of times early on in my career when I was in Detroit and he was in Green Bay doing what he was doing, and just had a ton of respect and admiration for his game. That hasn't changed. It's only grown since he's been here. As good a player as he is, he's an even better teammate, professional. The guy's as prepared as they come. He's doing everything he can to play at a high level every single week and lead that group, which is awesome.
How do you back to the 2022 season when Liam Coen was here as the OC? Can you describe what he was like, what his temperament was like, and how he was as a coach?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty mild-mannered guy. He obviously, he's passionate about the game of football, passionate about the guys that he's coaching, and about executing at a high level, which I respect. I have nothing but great things and great memories, of my time with Liam. Obviously, I didn't get to finish the season. We didn't play as well as we wanted to, but I think Liam's a really sharp coach. I think he's showing that, with what they're able to do right now. But, no, I think, my time with him was great. I learned a lot from him and still keep in touch with him a decent amount.
Puka said that the Breakfast Club has carried over to this year, even if he's not in quite as early as you and Cooper used to be. Like, kind of what do those mornings look like this year?
Not too different than what they used to. Listen, doors always open in the quarterback room, so guys are popping in and out all the time, and Pook's done a great job of being prepared and ready to go, and it's usually just eggs, bacon, a little bit of toast, and some football.
How do you treat these, mini buys in terms of your recovery, and how much of a boost do you feel like it gives to have that extra time to recover?
I use them as best I can. I make sure that when I'm at the soccer games for my girls, I'm sitting down and not up too much, trying to save my legs. If we're painting pumpkins, trying to make sure my hands don't get too dirty. No, I rest as much as I can, but it's a full-time deal on the weekends when I get home. But I do appreciate them, especially as I get older and longer in my career. It's important to try to use those times whenever you can to try to feel as good as you possibly can. I did that as best I could and feel refreshed and ready to come back out and try to get this thing rolling again.
For as much as you guys have your routines, in terms of when you're home or getting ready for road games, when you go on a trip like this where you're going to be out of town,
mm-hmm.
For an extended time, how does that affect your weekly routine in terms of whatever body work and all
Yeah.
that different kind of stuff.
I mean, it'll change it some, obviously. Won't be sleeping in my own bed, won't be doing some of the things that I'm accustomed to doing. Maybe might just change location, really. Like what I would do maybe at home, I'll do wherever our setup is when we stay there. So maybe just a little bit more of that. But as far as the things that I get in a normal week compared to what I feel like I'll be able to get in there, I don't think that's going to change much. It might just change location or time or when we do something. But I mean, biggest thing is, not being in your own house, not having, family around, all that kind of stuff. But as far as the football stuff goes, getting ready to go play, we'll be just fine.
Real quick, a couple questions about, you guys had a couple of tough games, tough losses. For you, how would you say adversity reveals something about a player that maybe success can't? And then for you personally, how do you try to reset after a tough loss like that?
Yeah, I think you learn most about players, teams, all of that yourself when you go through tough times and you realize, what are you going to be about after that? Is it going to be finger pointing and all that kind of stuff, or is it going to be, hey, rallying the troops and looking inward, trying to figure out how you can help the team be better? I feel like we have a locker room full of those guys, starting with our head coach and everybody down through the locker room. So I feel good about that. As far as resetting for me, the time off was nice, a couple days to get to hang out with my girls and my family and do all that and come back refreshed and feel ready to go.
When he first had a throwing session with you after he got drafted, he was really nervous and felt like he had ruined the relationship by calling you sir. Like, what do you remember about those early workouts with him?
I don't remember him ruining them, but I remember him being nervous. He might have thrown up a couple times here or there after some routes, but I remember being impressed. At the same time of just how he moved, how he caught the football. How you could tell the physicality was going to come out once the pads came on, even with, nothing on, just like no pads, nothing, just running in shorts and a t-shirt. I mean, it was evident. So there was a willingness to learn, the same personality you guys get to see and talk to every single week. So an infectious guy to be around and fun guy to be around. So I was, pleasantly surprised with the late round draft pick that we had. That seemed like he was going to be, pretty decent player. Has turned into a good one.
Played with a lot of star receivers in your career. They've all had unique traits that have made them who they are. What would you say is Puka's superpower?
I think trying to put one on it, I think if I can't, then it's got to be versatility, right? If it's like, hey, if I can't say he's 6'5", 250 pounds and runs 4.3 like Calvin did or whatever, it was like, I think it's just his versatility, right? If you're a defense and you're going up against him, and really not unlike a lot of guys on our team, but, you got to defend all the blades of grass. Are we going to hand it to him? Are we going to throw it to him? Is he going to lead block for us in a run play, or is he going to slip out into the flat, catch it, and run for another 15? So, I think it's his versatility, his ability to affect the game in a number of different ways and help our team. Thanks.
Okay, guys. As far as practice for today, guys that will be limited: Colby Parkinson, Cam Kitchens, Nate Landman, Omar Spates, Tyler Higbee, and Rob Havenstein will be DNPs. No, not right now. We haven't talked about that. Cam, so with Nate, just some soreness from his ankle, and then Cam, some soreness with his knee.
Matthew Stafford's off to statistically a great start, leading the league passing yards. Has there been anything different this year for you that you've seen from him?
I think he's playing really well, Gary. I like I would tell you, I don't care about stats. I care about the efficiency, snap in and snap out. We want to be able to move the ball, score points, and I think he's done an excellent job of putting us in good positions. I think he's recognizing coverage, reading with his feet. I think he's throwing the ball with accuracy and anticipation, and he's playing the way that we believe he's capable of. And he'll be the first to tell you that he's his biggest critic, which is also what makes him great. But been really pleased with him. Feel really fortunate to have him leading the way, and we got a great opportunity this week, and looking forward to attacking the prep the right way. Are you talking offenses in general around the league, or? Go ahead, ask your question again. Well, I just think, when you can try to be able to create that a little bit of hesitation, the more that you can make the defense, when so much of what their rules, roles, and responsibilities are reactionary, especially in a lot of those down and distances that you're talking about where some of the play actions can be activated, you can cause a little bit of hesitation. And, that's kind of some of the things where we just talk about being able to marry looks together. And so that's kind of been, the gist of it. I don't know exactly what, the numbers are in terms of some of the analytics, but we're always going to do what we think is best relative to different situations. Well, I think it already has compounded. I think for us, I think it's about doing the next right thing. And, the first thing is are we giving clarity as coaches to techniques, fundamentals, the timing, the trajectory of the kick, the protection, the snap. There's a lot of layers to it. If it was one thing, I think it'd be a little bit easier. There's been a couple different things, and we have an idea of what we think we need to be able to improve without putting too much out there publicly. And I don't mean to not answer your question, but it's all hands on deck. And to answer your question, it starts with clarity from us, techniques, fundamentals, what's required, getting the right guys on there, and then everybody doing their 1/11th. And until we get that fixed, there's going to be a continued emphasis of, if I was on the opposing team, I would be attacking that phase of our kicking game. That's what's been reflected. And if you don't get things fixed in this league, the bleeding won't stop, but we expect to stop that bleeding. I think when you've gone through experiences where you've come out on the right end and you've really grown through some of the, challenging moments, I think that can be used as a confidence that I've been here before. I can respond again. I think, it's first and foremost starts with mental toughness, a resilience, and then a security within yourself to acknowledge where can I improve to ultimately help the collective, which that's what football is. It's the greatest team sport that there is. I think he's accountable. I think he understands what his role is within the framework of what we're looking for. And that's the kind of guys that we want on our football team.
You're the only team that's dealt with the block kicks you have quite a bit this year. Do you feel like the teams trying to block these differently or their effects from kickoff changing or
Yeah, it's a good question, Nate. I think that, once you start to see some successful outcomes, well, then people try to be able to replicate it. And there's been a couple different issues or reasons for it, but I think these, rush units are doing an excellent job of being able to identify where are some of those, holes and weaknesses. And so I think that's such a big picture thing that you've seen more of it. I think you're seeing teams, rush a little bit harder. And like you've seen, when you see that can be something that you can attack, man, it feels like, all right, hey, here we go, and we better be able to get it fixed. Otherwise, that's going to be something that people keep leaning into. But, we try to have a big picture perspective on the landscape of the league, and it has seemed like there's more of an uptick. What are the reasons for it? I can't say other than the specific areas that, you give credit to some of the field goal block units, some of the specific personnel, the different matchups, and the timing at which they're able to, attack, whether that's internally or off the edges. I think, when we try to get a bunch of different people involved, I think what was good about the game the other day, I think the ball got spread around. He is obviously a big focal point of our offense, and it's not exclusive to when the ball's in his hands. But when he can do some really unique things as a receiver, when he can contribute in the run game, and then you can also give him touches through the run game, that is a valuable thing. But we want to be able to get all of our eligibles involved. I think that's when we're at our best. I think that's when you're the most difficult to be able to defend. But he's done a phenomenal job. Obviously, he's gotten a bunch of recognition for the production he's had. We want to continue to see that, sustain and continue to improve throughout. But I love what he's been about. We'll probably give, you'll see Troy and Dolak be able to kind of split up those reps.
Looking back at the 49ers game and just looking at the outcome, how do you feel your team has kind of is going to respond moving forward?
I think it's about, doing the next right thing. I love the resilience. I love the mindset of this group. I think we have to be honest with ourselves in terms of the totality of the 5 games. Where can we improve? Where are the things that we're doing at a really high clip? Unfortunately, we didn't finish that the other day, but that doesn't mean that there wasn't some positive takeaways. But, you lean into the things that you say, hey, let's not run away from some of the things that we all can do a little bit better and hopefully contribute to the collective outcome that we're hunting up. And, and what I've seen from these guys coming back on Monday, the mindset and mentality today, I love where we're at. And, we got a great opportunity to be able to go attack the Ravens this week. I think Liam's a great leader. He's a great communicator. He sees the game through a big picture lens. I thought he got some really valuable experience. When he went to Kentucky, did an excellent job of leading their offense, being able to put his identity on it. Then he comes here, and he and I talk about it all the time. That was a challenging year for us, but man, there was a lot of growth that occurred. In the midst of a uniquely challenging year, I think there was a lot of growth for us personally, professionally. I think he's used that, to be able to use some of those scars, if you will, to be stronger. And I think you look at the way that his team's played through 5 weeks. It's fun to be able to watch them. I'm happy for them, except for when we see them in a few weeks.
How would you describe his energy?
I think it's authentic. I think he's passionate. I think he's got that, you could see that quarterback background. He's fiery, but he also knows when to be able to stay steady. And I think he picks and chooses his spots accordingly. But I think the most important thing is authenticity, and that's exactly what he's been. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. First day back on the field after last week's loss. What did you think of the energy, concentration for the team?
I feel like we came out and did what we were supposed to do after a loss like that, or just a game like that in general. If we would have won the game, I would expect us to come out and have a good practice. So the intensity and the intentionality was there. It was a good practice.
Had the situation where you're going to play a game and then stay in where you're at and then travel to London. Have you done that?
No, I've never done anything like that. I played in New Orleans and then traveled to Sarasota to play the Jags, and we stayed there for the week, but that was the closest thing to it.
What challenge is it, if at all, for especially veterans who have routines in terms of how you take care of your body and everything else, what do you anticipate anyway, going on a trip like that? How?
Well, for me, I got a lot of different checkpoints and things throughout the week that I do locally, so it's going to be different for me for sure. And the main thing for me is just being away from my kids, honestly, more than anything. Like that, that's a big part of my healing process, mental throughout the week, just resetting, going home, spending time with them and my wife. So not having that element, but we'll get through it. I've been away from them for a week or so before that, so it's not the end of the world. But if I was drawing it up, I'd love to have my fam with me. But it's a week that'll be a little bit different from what we normally do, but we'll be able to get through it.
How important is it to have that bye week after when you guys come home?
Yeah, I think that's important. I wasn't thinking of it like that, but being off, I'm sure there's more than just me that have a certain regimen that they go throughout the week, but having to be off of that for a little bit and then going on the road and traveling and then coming back, it'll be good to kind of rest up and get the mind off football, everything at that point.
What are the parts of the regimen that are localized that would be hard to replicate?
Body work from different people. That it's not as easy to fly them out to London as it is to fly them from the Bay Area or Vegas to come and work on me in Southern California. So a little bit longer trip, even going to Baltimore. But I'm sure they'll have different things set up for us, massages and stuff like that. But 12 years in, you find a way to keep it working for you, and I've found my way. And like I said, it'll just be a week, but I'd rather have them with me.
Can you, when you see it, 12 years in, can you believe it's been that long since you were coming out of college? And
it feels like it flies by, but when it's time to heal after some games, you get reminded that you've been around a while.
So I guess how did the mini bye week help with that, or how do you look at kind of how that fits in?
No, it did, for sure. Just having those few days off to decompress a little bit, it helps with the mental, kind of having some time. Most times after games like that, I don't like watching football, so I made sure I watch as much as I could to just put myself through that pain a little bit and then get over it. And then you come back in for a week like this, you feel like you kind of removed from it. We would have a game tomorrow, off of the week schedule, the normal week schedule. So to have a few extra days mentally and physically is good.
How does your mindset after games like that change since your rookie year as you experience more of them, maybe?
As far as what?
Loss and then having the mini bye, you talk about not wanting to watch football but making yourself do it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, part of it is just because I love ball, just wanting to see good football and see guys make plays. But when you're younger, obviously it's a little different. I feel like mentally you don't have as good of a grasp on things, and just the mental resiliency to be able to power through a loss like that, especially a game where, you know, we were anticipating coming out and playing a lot better than what we did. So yeah, being a vet it's just different mentally. Now you can kind of shrug it off a little bit better. It definitely stings still, but it's a little easier to shake it off and move forward.
What makes Kyle Hamilton unique at the safety position?
I mean, he's just a football player. He's one of those guys that's a football player. He's like how Puka is. Like, it's hard to really look at his 40, look at, you know, how high he jumps, all of that stuff. Just having a real feel for the game, understanding his role, and you know they obviously put a lot on him, and you can see it in the way that he plays. But yeah, rangy, obviously long, and you know, tall type dude. It's a lot different than what you normally see at the safety position. So a lot of challenges presented. He's a good football player for sure.
No, you guys are all pros. Everyone in the league is a pro. But is it hard for you guys when you're facing a team that has a lot of injured starters out, to put that out of your mind? I mean, does that creep
now after last week? That's for sure. I mean, we didn't take the Niners light. I mean, it's just a game of execution. That's what it comes down to. Like, football is not the best team that wins. You got to play the best. So it's not the NBA. You go out there, the worst team in the league versus the best team. Like, I guarantee you, 90% of the time, the better team is going to win. But in football, you know, you might, off a couple plays, have it be a 14-point swing, and we know how hard it is to overcome stuff like that. And you're working against the clock. You can change up coverages and make it difficult for the team to, you know, expeditiously come back from you know, being in the hole. So it's not the same as just going on a 20-point run where you run off some buckets and knock down a couple threes. Like, it's a little bit different than that. So we got a nice challenge in front of us, but it'll be a fun one.
All right. Thanks, Alex.
Cool.